Gail, it's so good to see you.
Hi.
And I'm quite
You
I'm
too.
quite loving the connection because I know we go back a while as well. So it's so nice to see you as a human and
Yes.
not just a
Yeah,
kinesiologist.
no, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's
So
been what, about 7 years, I think. Yeah.
yeah, the journey has been amazing. I mean, we've both had an interesting 7 years, I can say that much. A lot of
Yes,
shifts and turns in the road. Um, Gail,
absolutely.
thank you so
Yeah.
much
Yes.
for agreeing to be a speaker and a little bit at the last
Yeah,
minute, I
thank
know.
you.
But you just entered my assistant and I was like, no, we have to get Gail onto the conference. So thank you.
Oh, wow. I'm so honored. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for
Uh,
giving us some of your time. So I
yeah,
just want
thank
to know,
you.
and I'm sure everybody else is going to want to know, is a little bit about the backstory, because I know when I met you, you were working for Clicks. And I was working in a pharmaceutical company as well, and I think we had some resonance there. But and now
Yeah.
you're living on your own piece of land off the grid and just living a life that you created for yourself. And give us a little bit about the backstory there.
Yeah, so I think COVID changed a lot for people. I think we had a look at what we were doing and what was important in our lives. And I think people made some big changes. And so one of the big changes that I made was giving up my job, moving out of the area, giving up moving away from my family and friends. So it was enormous. And moving off the grid to a little place called Seabrook, and becoming self-sustainable. So I did that about 2 years ago, and we spent a year building, and now I've started getting back into my practice and what I actually want to do with my life. So what's really come through for me is that I want to be involved in my own self-healing, but in assisting others, and guiding others to find their wholeness and their completeness. So I love studying. I just keep studying. I'm just continuously learning and doing new courses and exciting things. So big changes, yes, but really loving it, settling in now and loving it.
And you're a very different version of the Gail that I first met. And you know, we
Yes,
as kinesiologists really have made an intentional level up so that we can be of
yes,
service, optimal service to our clients. So we've really stepped into that service as you know, yours is very evident.
yes.
Yeah. So from the sounds of things, you've actually developed quite a powerful process for yourself because you've become involved with quantum healing. And I would really be interested to know how you have, you know, evolved your practice using kinesiology and then the other modalities that you've pulled in. And I think that's the important thing, is like for other people to know that whatever your heart and inspiration is calling you to do, that you should definitely do that. And then you have that
Yes.
beautiful grounding of kinesiology to bring you back. So, like, how
Yes.
does your
So,
process
uh,
work?
yeah, so I think what's really important is to go with whatever resonates with you, whatever works well. And I did the level 1 and level 2 of kinesiology, and I was just practicing what I understood and what worked for me. And that seemed to be around the emotional issues and around helping people with behavioral patterns and sabotage. And that's what kept coming up. The people that came to see me, it's all connected to self-sabotage and patterns. And I had my own difficulties with this, where I was continuously in this loop and repeating things. And I went for a quantum shift session about 2 years ago, which changed my life. And the quantum shift is where you go into the space and you connect to your higher self, and you ask questions and you get guidance and clarity on who you are and what you need to do. And that really changed my life. It's taken me about a year to actually adapt what I learned there. But more recently, I connected with the person that I went to that quantum shift session with, and she's now facilitating her own practice. So that is what I'm doing. So I'm working in the quantum shift space, and my experience, the course that I've been through, and I'll tell you a bit more about that later, but the course that I've been through has allowed me to connect to my intuition, has allowed me to understand that quantum space is it's connected to our heart and it's connected to universal space. And that if we trust our heart, we have all the answers in our heart and in the quantum space. So it's working with the heart and trust and intuition and believing what you hear and what you're told, and really just accepting that and remembering your wholeness. So the way I've incorporated this is I connect to, should I just tell you about my process and what I do?
Yes, it would be amazing.
Okay, great. All right, so what I do is I connect with the person, I get their history, their details, what issues, what goals, and then I connect with their higher self and their guides, and I ask for clarity and messages. I then take those messages and I make myself the surrogate. I make myself them. So I surrogate myself as them. And I then go into their lives, their parallel lives, and connect with their guides and then get messages. Once I've got those messages, I start on the kinesiology balance. So I take that and then I go through using a pendulum because I'm doing it all online. So I take that and I go through the whole kinesiology balance, see what they needed, what corrections are needed, and I do those corrections on myself. I then feed back to them afterwards and just have a quick Zoom with them, and I go through the balances that I've done and I basically integrate. Then I end off the session by taking what we've been through and I take a list of choices. And we work with those choices and then some stuff that they need to do, some homework they need to do around connecting to their higher self and integrating these choices into their new reality and their new life. So it's a whole process where kinesiology is the basis of the structure and the correction and balance, but it starts off with the quantum space and ends with a whole lot of choices. So yeah, so that's the process.
That sounds amazing. And it's sort of what a lot of us who've seen lots of different clients and already are starting to feel the frequency and a vibration of our clients and understanding before they even open their mouths what's happening. You know,
Yes.
we like kind of
Yes.
in that fieldy space already when we,
Yes.
you know, are used to seeing clients. And I must say, I don't know about you, but I find that remote work is so incredibly powerful that I'm
Yes.
actually almost sometimes a little bit scared because it's so shifty and the stuff that comes through, I'm like, whoa. Yeah, so do you have any amazing success stories to share? Because I know there's always like that one client where you go, whoa, that happened.
Yeah. So this was amazing. And it's a colleague of mine that's actually doing this, one of the courses with me. So she's like pretty tuned in. But she said to me, she has this issue where she always feels that she's let people down and she has this guilt and she has to try and repair that and fix that all the time. And then she thinks that it was in some sort of past life where she had this battle. And I went and I tuned in, and exactly at the same time she told me that, I connected to a guide of hers that was in battle armor, which is just like absolutely amazing. And then when I went in, I surrogated myself for her and I went into the battle. And she was standing there like fighting away, and people around her were dying. And she was so upset at the end of this battle because so many people had died that she felt she shouldn't have lived. She should have died with them. And I was feeling all the emotions, and she should have died with them. And her higher self said to her, if you died with them, you wouldn't have been able to save all these other people. You're a hero. Look at what you've done. You know, you need to love yourself for this because you've done so much to help these people, and you would have died and not saved all these people. And so after getting that message, I did a kinesiology balance on her. And that was absolutely amazing because self-sabotage came up, emotional stress release, wounded spirit, and the balance. I mean, the balances were just incredible. And they were so connected to this lifetime and this experience. And I cleared that completely. Yeah, that was just like absolutely amazing. Oh, amazing experience. So that's my big success story. Yeah.
I love it when that happens because it actually makes it all worthwhile. Because sometimes you have a client that, I have a number of clients that kind of, you do the balance and it doesn't show that they need to come for a follow-up balance, and they just go about their life. And then 6 months later, you bump into them and they go, "You can't believe what your session did for me." And I'm like, whoa, I wish I had known. Because
Yeah, exactly. Just tell me.
Yeah, it's so subtle that they don't realize that, things have shifted, but they do remember, and suddenly they see you and they go, and all the dots connect, and it just
Yes.
freaks me out. I'm like, yes, I
Yes.
am doing a good job. Because we often our work is kind of complete and our client goes off, and we don't really, unless you make I tend to cut off,
Yes.
because otherwise I can't stay connected to
Yes.
all my clients. But it's just lovely getting that feedback. So, and seeing that, seeing those changes
Yes.
that you've experienced with
Yes.
clients.
Absolutely.
So,
And you've done that for me. My sessions with you, just the feedback, and by the way, they've been
Gail.
transformational. So thank you.
I love that. Thank you so much. That's just amazing. And I loved working with you.
Yeah.
But what I want to find out is,
you.
mostly when we level up to such a degree where we now, what you're doing working in the quantum space, you've had to burst some serious, hardcore bubbles of your own limiting beliefs and so on. What would you say is
Yes.
the hardest thing you've had to experience? Because it's not all love, light, and namaste when we make these transformational changes. What do you think was the hardest thing for you?
So I think I had a lot of conflict, internal conflict, and I was creating it, and all created myself. And I went through a stage where for about 6 months, I thought I had multiple sclerosis because my arms stopped working and they were in absolute pain. My hands stopped working completely. And I had to go through this whole process of finding out why this was happening, and heal myself. And that was all around patterns and loops and inner conflict, that I was creating the situation. Nothing changed around me. I just changed my view on that and my conflict to change it to acceptance and tolerance and love. So those were enormous changes for me. And then when I discovered the quantum shift and the reality creation process, which is what I've been doing, it's around changing your reality, because we can only work within what our reality is. And that's our limited perception creates our reality, which creates our experiences. So if we want to change that, we have to change our reality. And you can do that by creating choices, making choices, and then aligning yourself to those choices. And that has been the enormous change for me. So it's working with my inner conflict and learning how to make those changes. And now I'm able to go and tap in like instantly. If I have conflict or something happening in my life, identify what it is, I tap into my higher self, I make a choice, and I align myself to that choice. And then I can feel that it actually starts moving in that direction. It's just so powerful.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is that you're just able to now identify your old patterns, and as they, previously you'd have to muddle through them for days, weeks, months, whereas now you kind of get an instant recognition of that pattern and then able to, erase or bulldoze or work through very fast. Yeah, and that's kind of our responsibility. Yeah. To do that.
Yeah, so that's so really my biggest realization is that affirmations don't work, because so what happens to you is you're born whole, you're created with this wholeness, and we then get society comes in the way, and we start fragmenting parts of ourselves, because society tells us how we must think, how we must behave, what we do. And we no longer align to ourselves' true nature and purpose. So we have this conflict, and we create patterns to protect ourselves, because the message we have is that we have to survive at all costs. So parts of us go off and help us survive by creating these patterns to protect us. We then move change our lives. We no longer need those patterns, but they're still there. So we try and get rid of them. We tell them they don't exist, like worthiness, security, self-love. And we say, I am worthy. And you're lying to yourself because your pattern says you're not. So the way to do this is to remember your wholeness, to get back to your wholeness. So what you do is you make choices saying that I choose to be worthy, or I choose to be safe. I choose to feel loved. And then you connect to your higher self and ask your higher self to bring home those parts of you that are in conflict or resistance to those choices. So to bring them home to rest with love and gratitude and thanks for what they've done, and that they will not die. They will come home and rest and can co-create with you to change to your new reality. So they have energy. They can take that energy, reverse it, and co-create with you towards your new reality of self-worth and love and security and abundance and all those other things. And it is that has changed my life, that concept around bringing it home, because we are whole. We are not broken, and we don't need to be fixed. So that is the most powerful.
That's amazing, because that sounds a lot like internal family systems as well, where we're made up of various parts, and sometimes one, the parts of us that are like on alert and keeping us safe are like dominant, and then the smaller parts, our beautiful inner child and our other parts are lying there like little tiny dots. And how we need to bring that up and then decrease the other voice, just to make, because we can't make them go away, right? All those are part of us, like you say. And
exactly. Yes.
by saying you want to get rid of it, it's like you can't get rid of a part of yourself. It's just you can like calibrate them in a way.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yes, absolutely. And that's why in kinesiology now I work with choices. So I take all of the work that's been done and I use choices. So I change the affirmations to I choose, like at the end. And then I take all of the balances and work out what their choices are from those balances.
Divine.
And then help with their reality. Yeah. So amazing stuff. And it's all so connected. There are just so many processes coming up that are connected, that are similar, that we are aligned. We are having this incredible awakening.
So Gail, you seem to have a lot going on. Like you mentioned earlier, you're an eternal student. What have you currently got going on for yourself?
So I started in May this year. I started doing courses in quantum shift exploration. So the one that I've just qualified in is called Discovery Key Experience, and that's part one of the whole, which is a quantum shift exploration. So the discovery key is getting into a theta state and connecting to your higher self and finding a key word, discovering a key word that will take you there at any time to get clarity or to ask your higher self a message. So it gives you a key that you can go into the state at any time by yourself and connect to your higher self, which is really, really powerful. And that's part one. Yeah. So that is part one of the quantum shift exploration. And part two it's about 4 hours long, where we establish about 15 questions. We then take you into a library of remembrance. So you go into your library and you go on a journey of remembrance, discovering your parallel lives, your current lives, and you connect with them and get messages and clarity on this journey. And then we ask you about 15 questions where we connect directly to your higher self and you respond as your higher self. So questions like, what is Lisa's purpose? Or people who have illnesses, why does Lisa have this illness and what is trying to be communicated to her? And then you answer yourself for that. And then we say, are you able to let go of this? So is Lisa able to let go of this? and people can be healed right there and then, just connecting to the higher self and communicating. So that is the quantum shift exploration. So that's like part 2 of this. So I'm doing the courses and facilitating, which is really exciting. And then also my reality creation process, which is like a 13-week process where you go through and you empower yourself and your self-worthiness, and you go through this incredible transformation. So I'm learning to facilitate that as well, but that'll be about another year. So, but if you're interested, just message me and I can tell you lots more about it. It's really exciting. So
that's incredible. It sounds a lot like Dolores Cannon work, although the hypnosis aspect of it, I don't know if it's as deep as that, or but it
yes.
does.
So the person that's developed this was a QHHT practitioner, and she's developed her own method, because this one you can do online, so you can do everything over Zoom, which is with the Dolores Cannon, you do that in person. And it is very similar experience, but we've broken it up into 2 sections so that you can use part 1 to connect yourself at any time, and then the part 2 is really to answer those questions and go on that journey. But incredibly powerful. So that really very, very exciting.
And it's just happening faster and faster and faster. It's like incredible. But Gail, thank you so much for taking time out of your day, and we will be sure to see and hear more via your social media. I love your social media posts. I feel like I'm living your adventure. So thank you.
Wonderful.
And
fantastic.
We'll see you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lisa. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye.